In 1980, I became the first physical education teacher in the United States, probably the world, to begin using heart rate monitors. I'm the pioneer. The most important reason that I wanted the heart rate monitors was because I had 65 kids every 48 minutes. And when we were doing a cardio test, it was impossible to know how hard anybody's heart rates were going, how fast they were going. Were they at the maximal? What is the maximal for kids? Could they repeat that same intensity in the spring so that we could have a fair comparison? Because it seemed to me that without the same intensity in the fall and the spring, we didn't have a valid way of comparing. So I decided that we would use the heart rate monitors, and we for sure would record the pre-exercise heart rate, the heart rate during the test, and the recovery heart rate. And I would have that documentation, those printouts, on file forever. And if we ever saw anything that was unusual or different, we would be able to go back and look at the records. It was awesome to be able to see this for myself on each day that we used the heart rate monitors, which was every day, and then especially for cardio testing. I always thought that maybe other people in the country were using the heart rate monitors, especially college, but it wasn't so. So we began to get a lot of attention. In 1987, we were in Life magazine. People started to become astonished that this school out in Iowa had been using heart rate monitors for 7 years at this point. And what we were doing was questioning why other people weren't using them. How could the high school not use the heart rate monitors? How could other schools not use it? So I wrote a few articles, wrote a book, and began to take the next 25 years of my life and promote the use of heart rate monitors in schools for fairness, for the idea that we wouldn't guess for assessment, but we would be able to objectively look at what was going on with every kid and to have records, to have data. Data drives decision. I had the chance to put heart rate monitors on 30 Division I programs. My favorite probably was several different wonderful coaches that I worked with, including Pat Summitt at Tennessee. But I had the only printout that I found of 2002 with Diana Taurasi at the University of Connecticut, where they were doing the 20-meter cardio test. And I went back and found it. And it was fascinating to think that this was the first time any college athlete had ever seen their heart rate during the 20-meter cardio test. And I want you to remember this slide right here, because as I show you the cardio test revolution, as it happened, first of all there, but really for school districts, it happened in Grundy Center, Iowa, with Rick Schubach and my darling grandson, Jalen, in Grundy Center, Iowa. We went over there and we tested 100 fourth graders using the most incredible invention, Sal Edwards, heart zones, blink armbands, big board, heart rate monitors that don't require a chest strap, and simplicity, pushing one button to begin and one button to end. And the data goes home instantly after class, within 5 minutes, to the parents, to the student as he walks out the door, and to the teacher. This means there's no work for downloading for any physical educator anymore, and no reason to ever have a chest strap. This opened the door for a lot of schools, and it's been an incredible revolution that I'm thrilled to be a part of. Rick Schubach is simply the best teacher I've ever seen. So working with him in Grundy Center for 25 years with heart rate monitors that did not show real time on a big board, but just showed the heart rate on the wrist, that they were wearing a heart monitor. So now we were able to go out and see all the heart rates up on the wall with a projection system that was taking the data from an iPad, a very simple iPad. How vulnerable are we if a student collapses during a cardio test? Well, I think we're in the year 2020 where we should be pretty darn vulnerable. It's about time after 50 years that we had more than just guessing when it comes to cardio testing. We ought to be having every kid knowing what their heart rate is throughout the test, and also every teacher, every parent ought to be common data. So the modernizing of testing and teaching. On the left, you'll see students who are doing the test today, tomorrow, next year, last year, 50 years ago, no knowledge of heart rate. What they're going to get is a number, 43 laps, 50 laps, 80 laps, and there's a conversion of VO2 estimation. Well, that's fine. That's fine for 50 years ago. In this day and age, we had to know if the heart rates were the same in the fall as they were in the spring when the kids stopped. We had to know that let's not take a kid above 200. There is no reason to do that. We want to have the same efforts in the fall as it is in the spring. This is a field test. We do not have to be exact on finding that maximal heart rate. There are two ways to end this test. The kid can't get to the end on the second time and he misses, he's out. But also, we're not going to let a kid go above 200 in our physical education classes on a field test. I think that's not the way to go. So on the left, the kids and the students, nobody has any idea of heart rates, and there'll be no data. There'll be a number, 43 laps, 50 laps. No data of heart rate whatsoever. Not the pre-exercise heart rate, not the heart rate during the test, and not the recovery heart rate. On the right, you'll see all kids can look up on the board. The colors change, so it's very vivid, and you can see when kids are getting into the vigorous zone, the red zone, and that is set at 190. They have 10 more beats. They can go up and back probably 1 or 2 times, and then they're going to hit the 200. So the kids know what's going on. No one's guessing, and we're using real-time heart rate. All kids have permission to adjust their heart rate. That's why we have the big board up there. That's why we're letting the kids see what they're doing as well as the teacher. I was watching Rick pay attention to this, and it was the first time he had ever seen this, and I had ever seen this in real time. So it's always amazing when you see technology that you love, and all of a sudden the advancement has been beyond your own comprehension. So for real time and for all kids, from this point forward, it should not be guessing ever. The results. What do parents get from knowing that their kid was tested for cardio fitness? Well, they get a number, 43, 60, 80 laps. So does the kids. It's very difficult to teach from that number, 43 laps. We have no other data, no printouts of the heart rate, no printouts of anything. And so we don't know if that kid was trying really hard, if his heart rate was 160 in the fall, if it was 200 in the spring, vice versa. The comparisons then are meaningless. The real results should be this. And this printout will go home to every kid every day that they have physical education. They wear the heart rate monitor, but in particular on the testing for cardio fitness, the 20-meter run, this is what the printout will include. It will include the pre-exercise heart rate, the heart rate during the test, and the recovery heart rate. And if you look at the yellow, which is the moderate zone, you'll see that's probably the most significant thing to look at when I show you several of the 4th graders that we tested on the couple days that we were there. This is not research. It's just information that we took in our testing protocol with heart rate monitors, visual evidence up on the big board for everybody, and the results. This is smart technology. You'll see the lowest heart rate is on that printout. The highest heart rate is calories, exertion points, and so forth. And you see the exact printout. And then it's broken down into blue, yellow, red, which is below the zone. Moderate is the yellow, and red is the vigorous. As Rick had the kids laying down, we were recording the pre-exercise heart rate using classical music. The kids that are sitting down there, they're the coaches for the kid. They're partnered up. Tomorrow, those kids will switch places. The partner is there to count laps and also to encourage and coach, and also to pay attention, to listen to the information, the teaching that Rick delivers. I don't know how many people spend time teaching during the cardio test, but if you don't have heart rate up on the wall, it's pretty hard to teach that. So the kids can see for themselves how low people can get their heart rate. And it's fascinating to see the differences. Now you see the printout of one kid's heart rate during that pre-exercise heart rate when they were laying there. We're going to see the evidence that we also were teaching in real time. Now they do a warm-up. Rick runs with them. They go slow. They're just trying to get warmed up, get the muscles warmed up. And this isn't a race. This is just to get going. And let's see what the heart rate did during that. Well, this kid went up into the moderate, which is kind of amazing. They weren't going very fast, and they're in 4th grade. But let's take a look at them when the test begins. Now the big board is showing lots of kids going into red, which is fascinating, and maybe one left in yellow. This is getting towards the end of the time. You'll see the kid during the 20-meter run. This particular kid did not spend much time in the yellow, and he recovered nicely, but he didn't spend very much time. So he's going to have not as many laps as somebody that has a better trained heart, which we're going to see. The recovery heart rate, once we've walked up and back, up and back, up and back about 3 times, the kids can then lay down and get a full recovery. What does that look like? Well, we'll see. Most people don't know what the recovery heart rate is off of a maximal test. Nobody's ever seen it in real time or on a printout. This data right here goes back to the parents, and we have now proved what was going on during the entire testing protocol. That should be automatic for everybody. Any college that is not teaching this in this day and age, you're teaching people like I was taught 45 years ago. That's irresponsible. This technology, especially with the needs of kids today, it should be individualized. And the records should be there for everybody to look at, fall and spring. Now we're using exercise science and technology to individualize cardio testing. Show me your data. If you look in a senior in high school, the data from physical education is essentially not there at all. It's amazing. No data. We can't tell what went on in every physical education class, and we have no idea what was going on inside the body during the cardio test. With this technology, you'll see the pre-exercise heart rate, the heart rate during warm-ups, the heart rate during the 20-meter run, and the heart rate during recovery. The visual evidence, objective evidence, no one's guessing. The data goes back to the kids, to the parents, to the teacher. You see for yourself, the kids see for yourself. It's completely objective. You're moving to the beat of your own heart, which is powerful. So this is one particular kid. This was sort of the average, 254, 3 to 5 minutes. The kids were in the moderate zone. They really are not in very good shape for fourth graders, as you would think they would be. But you have all the information right there. Now we can work on that and try to improve by spring. Kids aren't exercising outside like they used to. They're not going outside. They're sitting around. Here's another kid. 5 minutes and 12 seconds he was in the yellow, moderate, and then hit the red pretty quick. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Another child, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. 5:52. Not bad. This kid will have a few more laps than the other kids. 3:18. 3:12. Here's a kid went 9 minutes and 11 seconds. This kid will have a lot of laps. This kid's in good shape. Minimum heart rate was 67 and he stopped at 196. So this kid is in real good shape. Another kid, 327. And the printout from the kid whose heart rate data really demonstrates a trained heart. You really hope that you're going to find a couple kids in each class that will show, well, what is the point of the cardio test? Beeping, beeping, beeping. All of a sudden it speeds up, faster and faster and faster. How long can you go before you have to drop out? It increases it until you do drop out. For us, it's at 200. Well, look at that. He went through a long time through the blue even. He couldn't even get out of the blue. He's in such great shape. Low heart rate. And then he gets into the yellow for 741, but he was in the blue for quite a while because it was, for his heart, it was just, he's in great shape. And then he has a good recovery. Minimum heart rate was 61. He peaked at 194. The visual evidence. You can take that visual evidence and now see what's going on. The parents are going to get this within 5 minutes. If your kid had PE at 9 o'clock, the parents are going to get this printout at 10 o'clock. By then, they'll know what went on in physical education. And we hope they show everybody at the bank, everybody at the insurance office, everybody that comes over for coffee. Look what they're doing in physical education. This is what my kid did today. Do you get this every day? Yeah, we do. This is sent home. Boy, things have changed in physical education. Have they? The big board, real-time PE, boxes changing, numbers changing inside the boxes. Looking up there, you want to see a lot of yellow in a normal physical education class, a lot of moderate to vigorous. But during the cardio test, you want them getting into that vigorous. for a short time, and they can see the heart rates, and then you have recovery as well. The next day, they'll have their printouts, and Rick will go over this and teach what we're trying to do with cardio testing, what it means. And the VO2 estimate will no longer be an estimate. It will be based upon heart rate, fall and spring. It means something when you have that data right in your hands, and it's your data. It's not some foggy notion. We're teaching exercise science, applying exercise science. We should. Physical education is the mind-body connection. We're teaching the whole child. Basic information. Smart technology to measure fitness and report results. Sal Edwards' Heart Zones has achieved simplicity, has achieved the visual, real-time evidence, and has taken the work out of doing this technology day after day with kids and for the teachers. It's simple and it's affordable.